Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about a brand new studio album from Belgian black metal trio Wiegedood, Weizdurd. I don't fucking know how to pronounce their fucking name. Definitely gonna mispronounce it again at some point in this video, so I'm just hoping that I pronounce it correctly once. Y'all can let me know if and when that happens. I'll have a little bit of Jack Daniels just to be extra safe for a little liquid confidence. And then we will officially kickstart this review talking about There's Always Blood at the End of the Road. Not only am I not familiar with how to pronounce this band's name, Weizdurd, I don't know, I'm also not really familiar with their discography, their sound, their style entirely. I know that this is their fourth studio album. I know that they are part of the Church of Ra collective, along with Amun-Ra, Oathbreaker, and a bunch of other bands. And I also know, thanks at least to Encyclopedia Metalum, that their name, Wiegedood, literally translates to death in the cradle. It is a Dutch term for sudden infant death syndrome. Now that right there is a motherfucking band name. I am stealing that for something. I don't know what, but definitely fucking something. But yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I've talked to some people about this band. Metal Trenches went as far as to tell me that he thinks they're somewhat repetitive, but I've never really listened to any of their music. Anna, have you ever listened to any of this band's music?
No.
No? Well, there you go. I guess I'm not alone, at least. So obviously, with all this in mind, I went in pretty blind. Not really knowing exactly what to expect, just knowing that it would probably be very heavy, not just sonically, but thematically and atmospherically as well. And in those regards, I was certainly not disappointed, because wow, what an absolutely brutal, scathing record from start to finish. This album is an agonizing display of harsh, chaotic, underground black metal. Very straightforward in some aspects. I mean, tremolo riffs and blast beats and screamed vocals. But there's also a lot of weird experimental spices and atmospheric layers to this record that make it all the more powerful and depressive and genuinely horrifying at times. The opening track, FN16, for instance, is an immediate, obtuse, and intentionally somewhat monotonous slice of black and extreme metal. The main riff is so weird and chaotic and cluttered. It honestly feels like something I might expect to hear from like Portal or even Gorguts, but like right before Gorguts goes super hardcore crazy with Obscura and From Wisdom to Hate. Meanwhile, the percussion just absolutely batters away like a jackhammer, and the band lead singer wails like some kind of ghostly creature wandering through the forest all by themselves. It is such an intense number. At times I'm reminded of Early Watain, at other times I'm reminded of Gnaw Their Tongues, but then those screamed vocals come in and I'm suddenly reminded of like early Ghost Bath. And the album only grows more unorthodox and more uncompromisingly brutal as it continues. The following track, for instance, in Old Salamano's Room, is an absolutely blistering display filled with cutthroat, blackened grooves, more scathing, venomous, acidic vocals, and some really hardcore bursts of like tremolo riffing and non-stop percussion. Meanwhile, Noblesse Oblige, Richesse Oblige towers over you with these very obtuse and bizarre black metal guitar arrangements. For a moment, it feels like something I could expect from earlier Imperial Triumphant records. Some tracks like Nuages and Theft and Begging do feel a little bit more straightforward by black metal standards, but they're still filled with pretty chaotic and demented guitar riffs. I mean, they're not just memorable because they're great riffs. Weizdurd go out of their way to almost literally hammer these riffs into your skull. And then you even get tracks like album closer Carousel and Now Will Always Be, which go as far as to introduce some Tibetan throat singing alongside some more epic and melodic kind of mid-90s black metal riffs. Now Will Always Be, in particular, is probably my favorite cut on the record. I love that very simplistic but epic black metal guitar lick, almost feels like something pulled from Tribulation, and I also really love the Tibetan throat singing and how repetitive the lyrics are, because it's almost as if it's like slowly hypnotizing you in this very ritualistic fashion. I feel like I'm about to be sacrificed to some kind of ancient black metal god. And remarkably, it remains insanely immersive, mystifying, disturbing, even at 8 minutes and 17 seconds long. In theory, I should absolutely be complaining about the amount of fat and gristle on this steak, but in execution, I just don't care. The steak is seasoned so perfectly, cooked so perfectly. It's fantastic. I want more. Hell, bring me more fat. Fuck it, why not? And honestly, same goes for the rest of the album. It's definitely fair to say that this is a repetitive record. I don't even think that's up for debate. They literally repeat a lot of the same beats and hooks and guitar riffs over and over and over again. But they're so fucking good and so fucking heavy and so fucking epic and nasty that I simply just don't fucking care. It's just so powerful, so cinematic. I find myself craving for more at the end of every single song. I genuinely really love how intensely bleak and dark so much of this is. I love how painful and agonizing the vocals are, as if the lead singer is literally puking up venom and just crying out of sheer fucking misery. I love how crazy the riffs are. I love how massive the production is despite being so minimal and raw. I love how violent and bloodthirsty is. Honestly, I think I just kinda love this album. So, honestly, fuck it, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I think it's a fucking great record. Now, I would recommend, especially if you're listening to this on headphones, that you do listen to this at least the first time around on a lower volume. At a certain point, the arrangements get so hectic, and the sound mix gets so raw and crispy and loud and noisy that eventually the audio does begin to clip, and certain parts do begin to blur together into sections of white noise, or black noise, I guess, because it's black metal. I don't know. You get the idea. At a certain point, shit's too loud for its own fucking good. But aside from that, I do thoroughly recommend y'all check this out, especially if you are looking for some seriously nasty stuff, and especially if at the same time you still want something genuinely cinematic and epic and exciting from your black metal. I mean, this really did put me in a totally different kind of atmosphere than what I've been used to with black metal in the past few months. I mean, I've pretty much just been binging that Stormkeep album for a month and a half now, non-stop, and coming hot off the heels of that very epic kind of like Emperor dissection, melodic, symphonic black metal worship, this was just a literal punch to the gut. What more can I say, folks? It's a fucking great record. There's always blood at the end of the road. From Wiegedood, 4 out of 5. It's fucking great. Definitely check it out. Don't let the fact that I butchered their name like 10 fucking times bother you. Definitely check this album out. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.